Tuesday night action in the USL Championship brings us to the Nutmeg State, where fans are making their way into historic Dillon Stadium. Tonight's game is presented by Trinity Health of New England. Identical records. Hartford Athletic taking on the Charleston Battery. And with the former Man United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, Mike Watts on hand, here are the Atlantic Division standings. The Rowdies and Pittsburgh starting to clear the way up front, but look at 5 and 6 right now. A win puts you in playoff position and separates you from the other side.
It does. It's super tight, super exciting as well. Charlotte Independence have had a good run and they just got that 4th position. Miami FC, by the way, have played a few extra games. They can be caught if either of these two teams gets on a good run.
Let's talk about last time these teams met. Exactly a month ago today, Charleston playing host to Hartford at Patriots Point. This drops all the way through. Piggott, that's pretty.
Oh, what a beautiful finish that is, bending it into the far side.
And Repetto would add a second 15 minutes out of halftime.
That's another great strike. That's 2 brilliant goals there from the Battery.
Tulu would get one back for Hartford in the 83rd minute. Led to some squeaky bum time late here, but Nikiu Daly would grab one in the 90th and put this one away.
Yeah, a little bit of pace there, too much for the Hartford defense, and Battery get the 3 points, the 3 goals, and the 3 points.
Stavros Zarakostas is back into the lineup for Charleston. 3 goals on the year. Red card kept him out of the last game.
Yeah, 3 goals, 1 assist. Not bad from 13 appearances, but he's such a clever player. He scores some golazos. Now he needs to score more regularly.
And can he score on the road, where Charleston has scored aplenty, but struggling to keep goals out of the net? That's something Jeff Caldwell does really well.
He's been in great form, but for him, they could have been in a lot more trouble. Hartford, the goalkeepers kept them in games. A 25-year-old with some huge saves in some of the matches. USA U17 international. He's showing all those skills in recent games.
Former NYCFC first-round draft pick. Speaking of NYCFC, Hartford Athletic welcoming back in Justin Hack, the homegrown for NYCFC on loan. One of a handful of changes.
Yeah, he goes straight into midfield. Christian Gomez comes in for Alex Lara. Ashiti goes out. Walmer Martinez goes out. Derek Dodson comes in. And on debut, Darwin Lom up front. Sebastian Elney out.
Lom, the 24-year-old full Guatemalan international. Meanwhile, for Mike Anhauser, starting 11 for Charleston, that is a really depleted back line.
It certainly is. Logan Gadula's out. Nodase comes in. Along that back four there, AJ Patterson or Adesoden playing left back. We're not 100% sure. Good news is Robbie Crawford starts, and they need his skills. A former Glasgow Rangers star, Burke failing out. Zarakostas in for DZ Harmon.
Zarakostas, Daly, and Repetto could provide quite the scoring punch tonight for Charleston. These teams are deadlocked in the standings, and tonight at Dillon Stadium, it could be moving day. We've got Hartford and Charleston when we return. Welcome back to Hartford and Dillon Stadium. First taste of the home crowd for Darwin Lam, who played in the CONCACAF Gold Cup this summer. The Guatemalan set to make his debut for Hartford Athletic tonight, while Justin Hack returns to the side. Harry Watling, the head coach for Hartford, told us he really admired him on tape. Now he gets to see him in person. It's Charleston and Hartford. We're underway from Dillon Stadium in Connecticut. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey. It's a pretty limited schedule in the midweek this week, so this one turns out to be a real gem, Gary. Anytime you play in the division, there's a little bit more on the line. Certainly the case in a very packed middle portion of the Atlantic Division, but exact same records. This could be the turning point for either side.
Yeah, it's so tight in the middle, as we showed at the beginning of the broadcast, and these are games that if you win, you suddenly jump up. If you lose, you're chasing shadows, and it's a tough league. You know, we look above them with Miami FC and Pittsburgh and Tampa and Charlotte. These are all very good sides. Someone's going to have to miss out. You can't get 6 teams into the top 4, and you look at these 2 teams and think if either of them didn't make it, it would be a real pity, because they're 2 very good sides.
Bit overzealous from Budati. Sent back by Gomez. Bit of trouble with the press here from Charleston as Repetto nearly got home. Caldwell drives it away. It was interesting, Gary, talking to Mike Anhauser about watching this Hartford side on tape. He said they really open it up a lot more at home. It's something they're going to have to be aware of, as opposed to playing them at Patriots Point like they did a month ago.
Yeah, they've got a nice crowd behind them. In fact, the goalkeeper, Jeff Caldwell, saying these fans give us the extra energy, and that's the energy that drives them forward at home, and we expect to see a lot of them attacking, and Charleston Battery probably trying to catch them on the counter.
Good there from Gabby Torres. This is Lam crossing! Oh, it's off the crossbar and out. Staggering that didn't find its way over the line for Hartford.
What a chance, what a lovely ball into the box as well, and all from 4 yards out, smashes against the crossbar. Just as we're saying that they're going to be on the attack, Hartford, they come ever so close to getting that opening goal.
And what a way to endear yourself to the home fans if you're Darwin Lam. That's your first touch of the ball in these colors.
Brilliant move, deserved better, and in the end only the crossbar saves the Battery.
Torres playing into the feet of Lam, taken on by the Battery and lofted forward for Claudio Repetto. He'll wait for reinforcements. Gave it away as Zico Lewis zigged rather than zagged.
Wow, what a start. 3 minutes in and already smashed against the crossbar, and we thought this was going to be a cracking match between 2 very good sides, and strap on in for the rest of this game.
Obregon immediately put his hands to his head. He couldn't quite believe that didn't get in. He's moved over by Lewis, who's in for Kuzminski, missing tonight's match due to illness.
He's done well, Paul Lewis. Made a penalty save in the last match against Loudon, and actually was picked out as man of the match.
Team of the week for the league as well. Ade Soden making his way down the line, and no, Darce launches this out altogether. Let's look at this Lam and Obregon connection.
Good win in the midfield there, but from Gabby Torres just to set this thing up. And Lam just looking up, just puts it in there. It's a testing ball. And to be fair, AJ Patterson's let it run, and he took a bit of a risk there. Unless your goalkeeper says he's got it, you can't afford to let that ball go behind you. AJ Patterson gets away with it that time, but lovely move from the home side.
Obregon, 4 goals from 800 minutes this year, had 4 goals the last 2 years combined at RGV. Torres. Gomez. Hartford Athletic would like to thank our founding partner, Trinity Health of New England. Thank you to all the incredible healthcare heroes in our community who've worked tirelessly and selflessly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ball across here, dangerously still. Obregon chasing. Zaracostas will carry out.
That's another ball into the box that they haven't dealt with there, Charleston Battery. And talking to Mike Anhauser, and he was talking about how we don't want to give away cheap goals, giving away 2 penalties in the last 2 matches. You know, giving away cheap goals means you have to work so much harder to get back in the game. And there, 2 balls in the first 5.5 minutes flashing across the goal. And lucky to get away with that, Charleston Battery.
This given away now by Hartford. Carried forward, Daly. Bouncing ball, Janjigian finally got this short of the halfway line. Recovered by Zaracostas. Enters the penalty area. And out by Budati. Defending's been a little bit hapless so far, hasn't it?
Well, they're just settling into the game, I guess, the defenders, or maybe credit to the attackers for being super sharp. Battery showing that they can attack as well. And to repeat myself, it's 2 very, very good teams, both with great attacking capabilities and both perhaps struggling to defend the way they would like over the last few games.
Caldwell aligns the side for Hartford. Mario Piggott drives, header, oh, excellent. Caldwell denies Nodarse.
What a save from Caldwell yet again. We picked him out at the start of the game as the star for this Hartford side. The ball comes in, it's a fantastic header from Nodarse. Gets up, towers above everybody else. Keeper with a great reflex save.
Zaracostas returns, Piggott. Piggott launching, that's away from Nodarse. Crawford again. This will bounce all the way through. Play continues. Now Caldwell's put it out, and he is, from his hindquarters, arguing that that was offside, and it's hard to disagree.
It looked miles offside, to be honest. But maybe we didn't see a green shirt that the assistant ref can see. They're in a much better position than us, but wow, chances now for the Battery. And again, Caldwell, that save from Nodarse, absolutely brilliant reflexes from the goalkeeper.
That's the kind of save early in a game that acts like a goalkeeper smelling salt, doesn't it?
It does. Builds the confidence.
Piggott, Nodarse again. Well, he's got a hop and a skip in his step.
Wow, what a good signing he looks after, and it's a little bit sort of early to make that judgment call.
Let's take a look at the Hoffman Auto Group keys to the game. More shots on goal if you're Hartford.
Yeah, well, the last 4 games, Hartford have been outshot by the opposition, so they're going to want to get back in the positive column with that. And for Charleston, we've mentioned it, you know, limit the cheap free kicks and penalties, haven't given away a penalty in each of the last 2 games.
Mark Ollerton will bring play back. AJ Patterson carries the captain's armband in the absence of Jared Van Schaik tonight. Swung out by Gomez.
Love the fans in the back there, the vibe they're bringing. You see some of those costumes they're wearing. The players love that when the fans are now back in attendance and they can give so much good energy to the players.
It's a nice crowd tonight. You're getting toward the end of the summer for the kids, too. This is one of the last hurrahs before the school year.
Yep, well, they're out in numbers there. And as you say, pleasant evening, everyone in their shorts and T-shirts. Perfect evening for a good game of soccer. And already I think both these teams have showed us this could be a very, very special night to enjoy.
Offside flag had gone up. And Caldwell will step forward here.
You were talking about how similar these teams are in position. Their one drawn and lost record is identical. Charleston have scored just 1 more goal from open play. 4.3 shots on target for Charleston to Hartford's 4.0. Charleston have conceded 1.5 per match to Hartford's 1.4. There's so little to choose between these two, but no matter what they've done so far in the season, it obviously is all about how you sprint forward towards the playoffs.
And if you're talking form, Hartford starting really hot, Charleston struggling at the outset. That's reversed itself a bit now. Midline Chiropractic is the official chiropractor of Hartford Athletic, offering athletics, rehab, and sports-specific training. Midline is aligned with your health and centered on your well-being. Visit midline.com today. That's midlign.com.
We just see Harry Watling there, and we had a chat with him. And he was talking about the poor form they're in, only 1 point from the last 12. And he said earlier in the season, when they only had 2 losses in the first 11, and they were absolutely on fire. They beat New York Red Bulls 7-0. He said, I haven't changed the conversation. What I said then is what I say now. When we play well and when we play badly, it's the same mantra. And that's interesting that a coach is that particular about it and doesn't get carried away in the good times and doesn't go down on, and be hard on the players in bad times.
Daly, well done by Janjigian. He spoke about language, about word choice, which I found fascinating as well. Lom, that's a free kick without doubt. No, Darcy stepping in. He may get a card for that as well. He's walking away as if to have escaped that fate.
Big player, no Darcy. I mean, we've seen him win 2 great headers. Look how tall he is and lanky, hard to get past. And yeah, he uses that long, big body of his just to block Darwin Lom.
A little bit of creativity in that touch from Lom.
Yeah, he looks very sharp so far. I mean, we're judging after only 11 minutes of the game, but he's had an impact, especially with that pass in the first few minutes to Obregon Jr.
Well, if you're Charleston, this is precisely the key you were hoping they would avoid. Dangerous free kicks.
Exactly what Mike Anhauser said. He didn't want his players to give away. It's in a dangerous area as well.
Can't go wrong with the group that's standing over the ball. Obregon or Barrera. There's a massive humanity that's slowly soldering itself together as a wall. Surprisingly, no one laying down behind it, which we've seen come in vogue. 13th minute, can Hartford find something magical here? Barrera steps over. It's Obregon smashing this right into Lewis.
Yeah, I don't know if Obregon Jr. was hoping that Lewis would step left or right, but ultimately straight at the keeper. Surely you'd want to go top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner. In the end, it's a very comfortable save for Paul Lewis. Oh, kicking the ball away. Careful.
Now, Boudadi's going to get a talk to, at least. And at this present juncture, I would actually say I appreciate the officials' lenience this early in a match.
But the rules are the rules, aren't they? If you kick it away towards the end and you get a yellow, why shouldn't you get a yellow at the beginning?
Well, that's sort of testing the strike zone of a referee early on, isn't it? If you're willing to let that go, this may be a pretty open performance. Hack. 7 games last year in Hartford on loan from New York City. Returns now. What a wonderfully sliced ball in for Lom. Darcy did enough to disrupt. Please join us in helping founding partner the Hartford celebrate nearly 75 years of educating children about fire safety with their Junior Fire Marshal program. Visit juniorfiremarshal.com to learn more. 15th minute, scoreless between Hartford and Charleston, tied 5th in the standings. And And while you could get into tiebreakers, I think most would agree it's far too soon to consider that. Ball bombed forward, Obregon trying to chip this back over Lewis.
The idea was good, but very difficult to execute. You're at an angle, you're running away from the goal, you've got to get it over keeper and under the crossbar. It would have taken a fantastic strike, but love the confidence of one Obregon Jr.
Zara Costas knocks this wide. Budati hacks away at it. Bounces out to Barrera.
Go on, Gabby.
Room to run. Torres. Barrera, one of the leading assist getters in the championship. Waits, plays through Lam. He may well have been kept on side by McHugh, but the world may never know.
Well, you can see why Danny Barrera has got 7 assists this season. He's got 4 goals as well, but that ball delightfully put in there, just a little bit overweight as it turns out, but the creativity of Danny Barrera, the ability to see gaps in the play, such a quality player, and I think he's been picked out by Mike Anhauser as someone that they need to keep an eye on, shut him down, don't allow him to control the play.
Back to Caldwell. Hartford Athletic would like to thank Nouveau Pasta, Connect-A-Care, Stop and Shop, and Citizens Bank for supporting our Goals for Meals program. For every Hartford Athletic goal scored this year, these partners will donate meals to Food Share Connecticut. Repetto staring back at Mark Allerton, felt he got the wrong end of that deal. You do sort of see a fearlessness in Hartford in possession when they're at home, perhaps more so than they brought to the table away to Al Lang last time out. Ball floated all the way through. No Darcy. Lewis will come over.
You mentioned that match at Tampa that they lost 1-0, but it doesn't really explain how much on the back foot they were. 23 shots to Tampa, just 2 for Hartford. A 6 on target for Tampa, not a single shot on target for Hartford. And Harry Watling saying to us that he just felt his team couldn't get out of defense. They weren't courageous enough. They couldn't put the passes together. They couldn't find the skills. He said it was, it really was a frustrating game for him in so many ways, because in the end they didn't put any pressure on that Tampa defense.
He used a boxing analogy. He said it felt like we were trying to nick a loss by decision rather than get knocked out. Tampa has a way of doing that, and the Rowdies, in Mike Anhauser's estimation, had as much to do with Hartford's losses, Hartford's lack perhaps courageousness or ability to play out. There's a reason they're the reigning conference champions.
Yeah, you listen to teams talk about Tampa, and they come away from there tired, having given more than they probably do against any other team. They get run ragged there. And so if you can get a result away at Tampa, you have to be a pretty decent team. There are 1 or 2 teams that have done that this season.
And last year it was Charleston, the only team that beat Tampa, and they did it 3 times.
They did it, absolutely.
All that's ancient history now. Well, relative. Tulu.
Can I just add to that? Tuesday, 13th of July, Hartford playing at Tampa Bay Rowdies. They won 1-0. So it just shows you that, you know, there are teams that have been able to do it, and Hartford away from home have played at times so well, especially earlier in the season. I think that's a concern for Harry Watling and company, is this recent run of 1 point from the last 12 points available. That's 3 losses and a draw. It's just so incongruous with the way they started off the season.
I'd be interested to see, with more play between conferences, whether we can create a wheel of parity this year. There's a look at the foul with, rather the back heel there from Lom and the push there.
It's a lovely back heel, isn't it? I mean, to get the to be able to read that back heel, but then direct it perfectly, which he did, takes some skill. So you're saying compare Tampa with Phoenix, with El Paso?
Well, there's especially in the NFL, there's a point each year where Team X has beaten Team Y, which has beaten Team Z, and it wraps around the entire league as if to say that any team can beat any other team on any given day. I have to think that a wheel of parity at some point could be possible in this league.
Well, put it forward. Let's see. Comes the Mike Watts wheel of parity.
Rumir Niku Daly. It's a rocket off target.
At least he's had the shot, Niku Daly, and he's been their top goal scorer with 5 so far and 2 assists. Only 20 years of age. So much talent. He's got great pace as well. When he gets behind back fours, you don't catch him. And yeah, a little bit off target, but bravery to take the opportunity, and maybe he's just sort of focusing his sights. Next time he might actually get Jeff Caldwell to make a save.
Hartford Athletic would like to thank our founding partner, Travelers. Thanks to Travelers, presenting partner of our Community Champion Program. Children from underserved communities throughout Greater Hartford are able to come to the matches free of charge. Surely a few of the community champions in the building here tonight. And what a day to come out to watch a match. 75 degrees, no chance of rain. No, Darcy doesn't really leave a lot to question, does he? 20-year-old Cuban youth international who's on a short-term loan from Fort Lauderdale in League One.
He looks to be about 6'2" or 3", and Gabby Torres didn't get out the way and paid the price.
That's the Metro North train in this neck of the woods. No Darcy. He's his own line. Why am I telling you about trains? You spent all this time in England. I'm sure that's how road matches at Man United. You ever fly?
No, always a bus, much easier, much more convenient.
Obregon. Well, he'll wiggle his way wide, recycle his run. Ball launched and toward the net. That's a really high boot from Darwin Lom after Lewis saw that squirt through his hands. Good on Lom to go check on A.J. Patterson, who paid a price of his own.
Yeah, but concerning there that Paul Lewis should come and not get that. Maybe he could have punched that. Whenever there's bodies in front of you, it's always better to punch, but he got there and he got his hands and he didn't get too much of a push. Have a look at it here. Gets up, his hands are there. They go right through his hands. Very lucky that Lom didn't stick that in the back of the net.
Does the contact that he faced, look at this. Ahead now to Obregon. Obregon crashed into the legs of Lewis on that previous play as well. This was a remarkable ball ahead to Obregon in the first place. Set him up a second time.
There's been a few little scares at the back for Charleston Battery, and Paul Lewis has played so well the last couple of games. And that might just shake his confidence a touch. I hope not. But goalkeepers, when they come for high balls, they don't like to drop them in the danger area. So Acosta's got a red card 2 matches ago. I don't think he wants to repeat that.
He seemed to be trying to back away from that verbal altercation with the referee, and the referee was simply not allowing that. August is USL Supporters Month, and we want to hear from you. Visit uslchampionship.com/supporters-month for more information on how you can get involved and have a chance to be featured as the supporter of the week. This hung up on the turf a little bit. Janjigian lost the handle. Zarakostas did that jump up off of Tulu.
It actually might have hit Tulu's arm. He certainly pulled it away very, very quickly, and I think it looks a little bit sheepish, but so the question is being asked. But again, you know, if it's accidental, and these days there's a lot more onus on it being a real handball rather than just hitting your hand. Nonetheless, it's always a horrible moment for defenders when you do feel that ball hit your hand.
He'll happily, I think, defend this corner. And they've done so quite comfortably. Pereira. Fouled. And a quick restart. Lam. Good recovery. Zarakostas. Hack. It's good to see Justin Hack back in the side. When you hear Harry Watling talk about the process that he tries to go through with the front office, with Paul Buckle, to make sure you get the right guys in the building, the conversations he had both with Hack and with the brass at NYCFC, this is how we're going to make you a better player. It can be really a receptive thing for a coach and a player to have that conversation early.
It does, and that's how you get the player, is you have to develop him. You can't just necessarily bring him to your club and decide how you're going to, you know, use him. There's a commitment to playing him often enough that he develops as a player, and teaching him and coaching him. And at 19 years of age, you know, a really good prospect that can benefit from getting regular games and then going back to NYCFC as a much more improved player. He's got some good players to learn from, like Danny Barrera and others. I mean, if you want to improve your game, you know, these are decent, experienced pros. Danny Barrera, 31 years of age.
Hack taking the space. Lam! It won't count. It's offside.
I want to see that again, because Lam has got to keep himself onside. That's the whole role that you play there. You get yourself in a great position, and then you've got to keep yourself onside so when you get the ball, you can finish. Have a look here. Hack looks up. Lam just drifts. Yes, he just, oh, it's tight though. There's a defender on the far side. But your job, you've got to step back, and there was no one near him as well. Mike, if he'd have just held back a yard or so, we still had enough space to get the ball and to finish that. So expected a bit more there from a player as good as Darwin Lam. You're looking down the line, you've got to read that offside position.
This will bang off the corner flag. It's a throw. Piggott, after successfully altering his footwear. Throw came in from Adesoden. Does very much appear to be playing out on the left. Gomez.
Just listening to that crowd in the background, singing and playing drums and creating such a wonderful atmosphere here for Hartford Athletic.
Torres. No Darce. There they are. enjoying the moment.
Yeah, and all waving and dancing and singing. Look at that. It's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. Some of them with some headgear on, and others choose to sit more sedately and enjoy the action.
What kind of supporter would you have been?
Oh, stand up and sing, absolutely. Back in England, that's what you do. You hurl abuse at the opposition, which I know isn't really the done thing, but that's how the English seem to operate.
At least when, no, it's still, not just when you played. Bank of America corner for Hartford.
Good punch, Paul Lewis. Much better this time.
Barrera, clever. He'll reset. Gomez left that short. Lewis went after it again. Ball never got to him, however. Another Bank of America corner to come. Barrera clips the service, header, and it's in off the hand of Lewis. The opening goal belongs to Hartford. It belongs to Derek Dodson.
That's a great header from Derek Dodson. From that position to get the power behind it to beat Paul Lewis. Paul Lewis gets a hand on that, but is coming too quick for him to keep it out the back of the net. There are those wonderful fans celebrating the goal. The ball into the box, and they've had quite a few in this first half. You felt something might come. Barrera head up, and have a look at Dodson. Gets free of his man and gets power behind that. Uses those neck muscles. And you can see the keeper does get a full hand on that Paul Lewis, but it's coming too hard, too fast for him to keep it out. Another look there. Got to get tighter on Dodson in that box. It's a little bit too easy for him to get the power behind that header.
31st minute. It's his 4th of the season. On loan, the first round, 8th overall pick by Orlando City, coming from a family chock full of soccer players. Brother Ryan played collegiately. Sister Kristen Dodson played at Auburn for Karen Hoppe. Barrera gets the assist, his 8th of the year. You get the feeling Hartford really wants to put Charleston to the sword. Rolled ahead by Gomez. Room to explore. Budati plays forward. Well, really appeared like Hartford wanted advantage to be played. Now Hartford's into the penalty area. Roll back Budati. Lost his footing as he slid into that. That was a bit disjointed on the tail end of that build-up, wasn't it? Budati took a bit of punishment.
It was a bit disjointed, but you've got to give Hartford credit for keep chasing that ball. They went all the way to the touchline to save the ball from going out, came back in, created a half opportunity, and Harry Watling there in pictures got to be happy with the effort he's seen from his team in this first half. They've hit the crossbar, they've got a goal, and they really have created a number of little half chances as well.
Barrera bounces all the way over to Dodson. Dodson went down. It's another penalty conceded by Charleston. It's a 3rd game running, and it's Ade Soden as Dodson was leaving the penalty area.
I don't know what Mike Anhauser is going to say now, because this was his theme, his mantra before the game. Don't give away silly penalties and free kicks, and now they've done it again, as you say, for the 3rd time in 3 matches. Have a look at this. Is there any need for Ade Soden to get that close? Well, mind you, I don't see much contact, to be fair. I mean, it's very, very minimal. Have a look again. But nonetheless, as a defender, you can't even afford for even the slightest of touches. You've got to stay away from the striker. And Dodson scored one, and now he's won a penalty.
Staggering, really. Barrera has a chance after the assist in the 31st minute to grab his 5th goal of the year. Can Lewis make another save? Nearly did, but Barrera sneaks it through his hands. 2-0 Hartford.
Lewis ever so close. He made a save in the previous match, and he can't do it then. He gets a hand to it as well. The fans love it. They're absolutely delighted. And the save he made was against Loudon in the previous match. Before that, and the other penalty, because this is another third in a row, he got a hand to that as well. I'd like to see this again, because Paul Lewis guesses the right way for the third penalty in a row. You can see his right hand goes down and makes contact. Have a close look. Right hand goes down, it makes contact. And he can't believe he's inches away from making a save. In the end, it hits the back of the net.
Well, the whistle blows over Zico Lewis, grabbing at Barrera.
Yeah, he's having a look at the keeper. It was Pittsburgh in the previous game that he got a hand to that one as well and nearly saved it. Takes some doing. 3 penalties, you guess the right way on all 3. You get a hand to 2 but can't keep them out, and you save the other one. It's a bit of a penalty whiz kid is Paul Lewis, but right now his team is right up against it. 2-0 down. Not a good space for Charleston to be, and they've already had 2 back-to-back losses.
Lom. Dodson. Deflected by McHugh. That is the 7th penalty conceded by Charleston this year.
Wow.
They've only had 1 in their favor. And look, Mike Anhauser wasn't saying that we've been really hard done by the referees. He did say it. It's felt at times like the same old story over and over again. J Restaurant is proud to support Hartford Athletic. Visit J Restaurant, located at 297 Washington Street in Hartford, for their special Hartford Athletic Booznanza drink. Show your game day ticket, receive 10% off your entire order. Zara Costas suffers under Lom's challenge. That's the first card of this match. It doesn't come till the 37th minute.
Well, this is certainly good news for Hartford fans after 3 losses and a draw, to be looking at the potential. A little bit late there. Got to be careful diving in, especially in the middle of the field. Why do that? I get it if it's on the edge of the box and it's crucial, but the middle of the field, let the opposition have the ball there and just try and block them coming forward. But to say after 3 losses and a draw, Hartford fans delighted to see their team ahead and looking good.
I'm seeing Bonanza written there on the stands. I'm really thinking that it wouldn't take much for J Restaurant to up their ante. This ball rolled all the way across. You could have Booznanza written over there. It's not too late. This will roll by what has to be a grateful goalkeeper, Jeff Caldwell. 2 goals up here at home. You must feel like you've got the wind whipping at your back.
Yeah, you've got those wonderful fans giving you a great vibe as well. You're back on the winning trail. And you've got a couple of new players in the team that have made a difference in Justin Hack and Darwin Lom. And I think Harry Watling saying to us that he intended to bring a couple of fresh faces in just to up the sort of competition between the players and up the energy as well.
Lom at full stride, caught Nodarse. Lom may not be long for this game. The rate he's committing fouls. It's on a yellow. There's nothing malicious in that, but it's not often you see a second yellow for a repeated infraction, but Lom appears to be well on his way if he goes the full 90.
Well, I think if that Zara Costas red card against Pittsburgh was exactly for that. It was for repeated infractions towards the end. So you have to be careful. Referees do keep a track of it, and it can either be 1 bad tackle or 2 or 3 sort of, you know, minor ones that get you the second yellow.
Barrera for Obregon. Obregon, there's Lewis. Wiping that away.
Decent save from Lewis. Stood up nice and big and strong. I don't know if Obregon Jr. was trying to chip him. I didn't seem to hit it too hard. Have a look. Yeah, I think he was going with the chip, didn't get enough under it. Goalkeeper makes a comfortable save.
Bank of America corner coming for Hartford. And Charleston is going to have to take a long look in the mirror at halftime. Or can they limit the damage at this point? Short corner. Curled ball over Tulu. Obregon lobbing again. Now the whistle. Offside all along.
Again, Obregon going for that little chip over the goalkeeper. I'm not so sure that's the best way to go. Maybe could have passed that one. Nonetheless, he was offside, so it's a moot point, but I just feel from there, trying to chip the goalkeeper when you've got players in the middle might have been a better option. They're looking good, aren't they, Hartford? On the front foot, creating opportunities. Yeah, they've been caught offside once or twice, but they look so good, so positive.
Well, Caldwell's made himself part of the match, leaving the penalty area for that.
I think he was getting bored.
Lewis, the boredom continues for Caldwell. Walgreens is proud to support Hartford Athletic and the hashtag Changemaker of the Month program. Nominate someone making a change in your community. They can be recognized as a Changemaker of the Month. Go to hartfordathletic.com/COTM to learn more.
I guess we have to say, in fairness to Charleston Battery, they are missing a lot of players, especially in defense. Leland Archer, Patrick Hogan, Jared Van Schaik's injured, Logan Gadula's injured. So in that sense, at the back, they are a bit of a, a patchwork defensive unit.
Lom. McHugh slides in. McHugh will get a yellow. Maloney from the Dynamo.
I think once you go to ground and slide, you've got to get the ball, otherwise you're almost certainly going to get a yellow if you get the player. And these days, if your foot's up like that and you make the wrong connection, it could even be a red. So again, I think coaches more and more are saying to players these days, just stay on your feet, don't slide in. Good players will see you coming and they'll play to the foul. They'll just knock the ball away and take the hit and know that you're going to get a yellow card. So stay on your feet. And it's difficult to do because the rules have changed gradually over the years, so you might be used to committing yourself, but more and more defenders have to stand up and make the tackle.
Barrera, this is right off the training ground. Recovered by Lom. Lom finally overtaken.
Was that Lom trying to win a penalty with that dive?
I hope not. The Olympics are over.
Yeah.
The diving competition is done. No. Well, there's an element of you're in the penalty area. There's a lot of stomping feet. Just sort of need to. I'm going to assume it was that. Barrera. Obregon. McHugh. Still here through Barrera. Goal and an assist tonight for Danny Barrera. Barrera's whisked this over the back. Ran out of room.
Yep. Goal and assist for Barrera, and goal and penalty created by Derek Dodson. So those have been the two impact players in this match in this first half.
Certainly so. AARP Connecticut is proud to support Hartford Athletic and welcomes fans to visit aarp.org/CT events. Learn more about upcoming virtual events. Our events are fun, informational, and free. People of all ages. That's aarp.org/CT events.
All sorts going on off the ball here, and I think Budadi is trying to claim that Daly elbowed him, but I think Daly was going away from the ball. Tulu also had a bump there. Difficult for the referee to sort out.
Well, the referee right now is both trying to keep the piece near the ball and also
Let's
apparently...
have a look. Just watch Daly here. Oh, he does throw a little hand out. I didn't see that in real time, but Nick Daly threw a hand that hit Budadi in the face. Didn't hit him hard, but you can't raise your hand to a player. And again, if there was VAR, Nick Udady would be in all sorts of trouble, but I think the referee can't be expected to see everything. We didn't see it, but for the benefit of a replay, so no way you can expect Mark Allerton to see it. I think he's just having a quiet word with the players.
Well, a yellow to both. Interesting.
Quite sure what Budadi did to get his yellow, but I think Nick Udady took that yellow and walked away as quickly as possible, because that was potentially a red.
Imagine you're right there, partner.
For those fans in the background, pumping up the volume, getting the energy to the players. No wonder they have a decent home record, Hartford.
Hartford Athletic would like to extend a special thanks to our partners Jim Beam Bourbon and Hornitos Plata Tequila. Free kick, Charleston. Caldwell stepping away. Lewis, and the header snaps in. There's the goal back for Charleston in stoppage time. It's Repetto. His 5th in 9 games since signing for the Battery.
That's so annoying for Jeff Caldwell. He's come out, he's punched the ball clear. He's looking in his defense saying, how can you allow the ball to come straight back in? Have a look at it again. It's a decent punch from the goalkeeper. He clears his area and the ball gets knocked back in and just flicked on. It's too easy to knock the ball back in by Zico Lewis, and Repetto not under enough pressure. But what it does do for the neutrals, gives us a great game at 2-1 going into the halftime.
Hartford Athletic is proud to partner with CLA, creating opportunities through your organization's entire life cycle by providing a seamless suite of services in wealth management, advisory, outsourcing, audit, tax, and consulting. Learn more at cla.connect.com. And the halftime whistle arrives here in Hartford in what was a really, truly jubilant atmosphere. For much of that half is a little more subdued going into halftime, Gary.
Well, it's something Charleston Battery needed desperately. It was certainly Hartford Athletics' half. They were coming in at 2-0 and back to the wall for Charleston Battery. But this goal, whether deserved or not, is irrelevant. It's got them back in the game. And it makes it a completely different halftime talk for Mike Anhauser.
And into halftime we go. We've got plenty to tell you about. Recap of the weekend. A look back at news and notes from around the championship, upcoming schedule, and oh so much more. Dillon Stadium crowd getting their money's worth. Athletic 2, Battery 1. Back at Dillon Stadium, the substitutes wondering whether they'll see time in this second half. We had quite the final 15 minutes here. Hartford 2, Charleston 1. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey, let's take a look at some highlights from over the weekend, get you caught up. Cameron Lancaster show. It's been a weird series between Tulsa and Louisville this year. Goals in the first 10 minutes in all three contests. Louisville won the first, and they'd win the third here.
Yeah, poor defending. Header missed there. Cam Lancaster knocks it back in, and it gets deflected into the goals. So 1-up, Lou City. They both won each of the previous two games. This ball not cleared, gets knocked back, drops to who else? Cam Lancaster, back of the net. And he'd already had a couple of injuries. We thought he was going to get taken off. And he stayed, he gutsed it out, and he gets that second goal. And it was in the dying moments that Bourgeois got one back for the visitors.
Finished 2-1. How about Colorado Springs taking on RGV FC? We go down to HEB Park in Edinburgh, where very much dreams did not die. Haji Berry, 2 goals in this one. He has 18 on the year.
Incredible player, absolutely brilliant. That one, just a lucky one in terms of deflection into the goals, but nothing lucky about the way they create this, the pace of Galina getting into the box, and look at that. In fact, that's not Galina, sorry, that's Thomas Among. Another player they have. I mean, they're just lining them up. That was Galina. How many goal scorers are in this team? You got Haji Barry coming up with his 4th. Watch how he finishes this to number 10. It's laid up to him. Bang! Oh, what a strike. And then you want another striker who can score goals, Mike? Try Yappy up front. He's going to pop up and get the 5th one here. So going forward, this team are absolutely electric. Good finish from Yappy.
5 goals to 2. Colorado Springs proving that speed does in fact kill. And RGV's wonderful start to the season is very much under fire now. What a beautiful sight overhead. It's a wonderful evening at Dillon Stadium in Hartford. We've got a look around the league when we return. It's Hartford 2, Charleston 1.
I am a first-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
Diggy and tees it up. What a strike! And what a goal! Hartford has a goal! And Lou City double their money!
And how sweet the sound at Lynn Family Stadium. Hartford 2, Charleston 1. Halftime here at Dillon Stadium. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship and get you caught up on what you've been missing. Supporters Month continues all month. Go to uslchampionship.com/supporters-month for more information. Chris Wehan leaving New Mexico for Orange County, now back in New Mexico.
I'm assuming that's because Okoli went to Orange County, so they had too many strikers. A good player, Chris Wynn, very, very quick. I think he's going to add a lot to New Mexico United.
And Speedy Williams, not much of a goal scorer, but bagged a brace against Pittsburgh of all teams. And so he's the Clear Audio Player of the Week. Team of the Week will show Speedy Williams, of course. A lot of Atlantic Division here. Paul Lewis and Ade Soden of Charleston in there as well. Aaron Guillen from the Rowdies. Barry and Lancaster we highlighted earlier.
Got to be those two. But interesting that from this match, Ade Soden and Paul Lewis got chosen. So well done to those two Charleston Battery players.
Certainly so. We'll look around the USL League schedule later tonight. It's slim pickings. Only one other game. Austin and RGV are kicking off in an hour's time on ESPN Plus. Tomorrow, everyone in the division will be watching Pittsburgh-Tampa.
Wow, top two in the division. That's going to be a massive clash. And Oakland Roots got only their second win of the season last match, so they'll be going to New Mexico. Buoyed with confidence.
Off to Isotopes Park, as we all know. The lab, indeed. Here's the upcoming USL on ESPN schedule as two of the East best clash to kick off a fall to remember. Perennial contenders Lou City travel to Dillon Stadium, meet Hartford Athletic. Potential playoff preview, ? September 7th, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Yep, some good ones there for Hartford. Away at Lou City, rather home to Lou City. That's not going to be easy. And then home to Charlotte Independence. But home matches always give you that slight advantage.
Certainly do. Plenty of action on ESPN Deportes and ESPN2 coming up. So we are closing in on the second half. When we return, have a look at first half highlights after these messages and a word from your local station.
Hey, want a beer?
Young man, say aye to the blandest lager in all the kingdom.
It's the beer that everyone else is drinking.
Heavy and full-bodied, just like me.
How about a Beam and Ginger Highball instead?
Yeah, definitely. Much better.
We don't just protect things. We help protect the life you've built around them. Travelers, it's better under the umbrella.
Halftime concluding here in Hartford. Athletic 2, Battery 1. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey. We do the highlights now from the first half. Plenty of highlights to get after. We'll start in the third minute. If you were a little comatose at the outset, this will wake you up just fine. Lam finding Obregon.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ball in from Lam there, and Obregon Jr. smashes it against the crossbar. I'm sure he'd love that back, but he was stretching, to be fair to him, so he did well to get to it. And this one, a ball, it's another fantastic save. Ball in from a corner. The big man up front there, Nodase, gets the header, and what a good save from Jeff Caldwell. Great reflexes.
Time to talk goals. Barrera, assist. Wonderful from Dodson.
Yeah, power from Dodson. He's got a little bit too much space to get the header in. He needs to have someone on his shoulder pushing and shoving him, but the power he gets behind it, even though Paul Lewis gets a hand to it, he cannot keep it out the back of the net.
2.5 minutes later, how about Dodson helps to create here? Is that a penalty for you?
Oh, it's the barest of touches. But these days, defenders have to stay away from strikers. They pay the price. Once again, Paul Lewis, as he has in previous penalties, getting a hand to Danny Barrera's effort, but can't keep it out the back of the net.
Barrera now 8 assists, 5 goals on the year. Here's Charleston's lifeline right before halftime.
Zico Lewis knots it back in. It's a little flick on from Repetto, and that was after the initial punch from Jeff Caldwell. Furious that his defense haven't managed to deal with that ball.
So Repetto gives Charleston his 5th tally of the season and a goal that puts them within 1. The dying seconds of the first half. Dodson and Barrera, fantastic for Hartford. And the referee whistled him out, ready to bring us into the second half of play. Two teams tied 5th in the Atlantic. And a bit of encroachment after the delayed kick from Obregon. We'll do it all again. Now we're getting after it in the second half. And all the way down here to Lewis, who will distribute quickly.
Just to repeat the point, that goal at the end there for Charleston Battery in the dying seconds of the first half just brought them back into this match. It changed both the halftime talks, I'm sure, and what Hartford would like to do, and you can see by the way they're starting the second half. They want to get that next goal. They want to get that 2-goal cushion and get the crowd fired up again and get back on the front foot. They've only got 1 point in the last 12. And for Charleston Battery, yes, they did win their last match, but a couple of losses before that. So if they lose this, it'll be 3 losses in 4. So for both teams, a win absolutely vital.
It's awkwardly in reverse. This will get out. Be sure to share your match day smiles. Take a photo in your Hartford athletic gear with the hashtag MatchDaySmiles and tag @DeltaDental to be entered in a contest to win VIP experiences at Dillon Stadium.
That's a bit of a record that Charleston Battery have set, by the way, conceding 3 penalties in 3 consecutive matches. Don't think that happens too often.
Bowling, is that a turkey? What is that?
I have no idea, but either way, Mike Anhauser will not be impressed. Because he was saying before the match that's the one thing he wanted his team to avoid doing. And Adesaidan just getting a little bit too close there to Dodson. It was minimal contact, but these days you've got to be so careful.
Torres goes the distance and watches this escape over the end line. Do you feel it's significantly changed? You say these days you have to be so careful. Is there a line of demarcation where penalties became vastly easier to attain?
Yeah, well, before VAR, the referee had to be absolutely sure that it was a penalty. So you had to see you bring the player down, or it had to be fairly obvious. The moment VAR came in, even the faintest of touches was deemed to be unacceptable if the referee thought it might have brought the player down. So there were so many ifs and buts involved. And you have to be a lot more careful as a defender. You can't hold on to players. You can't tackle them in the box.
Could Charleston eke out another here? Crawford, who had a quiet first half. Ball launched forward toward Repetto, and this will get out over the line with Piggott also leading for Charleston. Corner.
Oh, you mentioned a name there, interesting, Robbie Crawford, such a good player who used to dominate the midfield for Charleston Battery. They desperately need him to get on the front foot in the second half.
They've struggled in possession over the last few games, Charleston have. Well, possession in the first half, 67-33 Hartford. Even with Crawford back in the 11, which, like Anheuser thought, might turn the tide. They're also playing on the road against the Hartford side, playing inspired ball. Corner, Charleston. Darcy was the target. Adesodan. Gomez hit that back. And now Lam. Coming in on the red jacket choice tonight by Mike Anheuser.
It's a sign of danger for his players. If you don't play well, look out for me.
You saying that if you give up a penalty, you'll be seeing red?
I mean, Mike Anheuser has been wonderful in getting his teams to playoffs year after year. Last year it went almost the entire way. Tampa Bay just stopping them in the playoff final. But all of a sudden you're looking at a season in which this team might not make it because it's such a tough division, and a loss here tonight puts the Battery even further behind that last playoff place, the 4th spot.
Lewis. Peeled it, that went off Budati, it did.
Repetto's just holding his head. I think he felt he could have done better with that cross.
Well, that was the combination that scored in Brignall Vineyard's stoppage time in the first half. They'll line it up for Lewis again. Trying to come up with something really special on the second ball. Look at Dodson. He's barreling through. Now Lewis is giving it away cheaply to Lam. Dodson. Return to Lam, broke down. Lewis gave it right back to Gomez.
It seems that nobody wants the ball at the moment.
Obregon trying to challenge that conjecture. And at the end line, back now, Obregon. Obregon spins, looking, ball across, Lam. Well, Lam was going to be offside.
He's saying he got pushed in the back. That's what he's claiming, but I think the offside would have come first. And again, it's happened to him in the first half. If you can see all the four defenders across the back four, you shouldn't get caught offside, especially a player as good as he is and as experienced. Talking about international with 15 appearances and 6 goals for Guatemala.
All coming in the time since the pandemic. 12 caps this year. Hartford Athletic would like to thank our partner Goldberg Capital Management for their support and generous donation to the Connecticut Children's Medical Center. Crawford. To your point, time at Rangers, played 45 games there, and then into the Scottish Second Division, time in Iceland and Finland.
Lots of experience, and to play for Glasgow Rangers, you've got to be a pretty decent player. And at 28 years of age, he should be at his peak. And yes, he has been injured, but now that he's back, I'd like to see him dominate that midfield a little bit more.
At the end line, swung across. Repetto tried to sweep that further with no luck. A lot of bodies on the ground, and now it's a free kick conceded by Hartford. Hack and Tulu, both worse for the wear on the Hartford side. Lewis among those who are scrambling for Charleston. And what a piece of real estate to own in Hartford right now. All the while, there's a change coming for Hartford to try and change the dynamic. Walmer Martinez, who celebrates his 23rd birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Hoping to blow out the candles with a goal. And Derek Dodson comes off. Really bright moments from Derek Dodson.
Yep, got the goal, won the penalty. Massive impact on this game, but looks like he's just feeling the pace a little bit.
Actually finished out the college season, Dodson did at Georgetown after being drafted in the first round by Orlando.
Don't think he scored yet this season, Walmer Martinez, so on his birthday would be a good time to get his first goal of the season.
Hugo Perez, the head coach at El Salvador, was looking at him. Appeal there that was a handball. It continues. It's Crawford. Crawford can score those.
Oh, the ball got the goal in those distances.
Caldwell. This will come back for McHugh. Hartford Athletic would like to thank the law offices of Crescenzo DeLuca, serving Wethersfield, Greater Hartford, and Connecticut with 41 years of experience in immigration and general practice law.
Well, this is the time of the matches we've seen already with the one sub where the managers are weighing up who's got tired legs. They're playing so many matches. Every team is playing literally twice a week. They're rotating from game to game anyway. As we said, 4 changes for Hartford and 3 for Charleston Battery for today's game. But nonetheless, even within the game, you need to rotate players whose legs are looking a little bit tired.
Harry Watling said, you know, it makes me appreciate the gray hairs a little bit more, the coaches who've been around the block and done it. What a tremendous ball ahead. Walmer Martinez puts this off McHugh.
Birthday boy looking good. As you say, I'm sure he's got a nice party arranged for afterwards. And if you can be on the winning team, and in particular if you can score a goal, what a party it's going to be.
Quick corner. Lewis showing off all of his anatomy to catch that.
Well done by the goalkeeper there. Not an easy ball to take. He does manage to hold on to it.
All the way down.
You get the sense this match is very delicately balanced. Pretty obvious, I guess, a 2-1, but it's like it can swing either way. For a while there, Hartford came out in the second half pushing forward, but now it's got into an equilibrium, and it just needs a little bit of something special from either side to either get Charleston back on level terms or get Hartford back their 2-goal cushion. The one thing I will say is that Hartford at home have only had 1 loss in 7. Good home form, and the Battery away from home have had 4 losses and 1 draw in their 7, so not the best away form. So if you were to make a guess at this stage, you'd still fancy Hartford at home to get the vital breakthrough.
Martinez. It's been a bright light since coming on. Martinez will bounce that simply at Lewis. To go back to your previous point, by the way, 9 games in 36 days is the current stretch for Hartford. So even though they're going to go on the road to Miami, they'll be right back here next week to take on Pittsburgh, and then Charleston again, and then a short road trip down to New York to take on Red Bull 2. Lewis rolls this over. That upcoming game against Pittsburgh is actually a Supporters Month promotion that I'm all about. It's $2 beer and $1 hot dog night. I hope that includes a nice crisp IPA. That's my neck of the woods. It's August 28th at 7 p.m. against the Riverhounds. HartfordAthletic.com for tickets and more information on that. But you may well see Hartford right at the playoff line taking on potentially the #1 team in the Atlantic next week.
I think it's the same for every team. Every coach we speak to says exactly the same. It says 2 games a week, I'm rotating players, I'm dealing with injuries, I'm trying to sign new players. they're all in exactly the same boat, which is why you can't use it as an excuse, because everybody else is feeling the same. For Charleston Battery, away at New York next up, and then they do the cross-divisional match against Orange County, which will be a big test. Orange County, a very, very good side out there in the West. Then they face Hartford Athletic again, and then Tampa Bay Rowdies. So, you know, every team is just one big game after the other.
Crawford.
Yeah, puts his hand up just to acknowledge that wasn't the best of strikes from a player that you expect so much more from. Great pedigree, wonderful striker of the ball.
Injured really late in preseason, and then injured again a few weeks ago. Crawford returning, coming off the bench, which is something he does truly infrequently. In the 1-0 win against Loudoun, but scored in the 79th minute from Zico Lewis. Lewis has bagged his 7th assist, trying to keep pace with Danny Barrera among the league leaderboard. Janjigian, Caldwell. Hartford Athletic is proud to team with local health plan Connecticut to support food security in Connecticut. Connecticut celebrating 40 years of caring for the health of our communities. There's a yellow card that comes out. Zico Lewis a bit slack-jawed looking on. It's not his card. Robbie Crawford goes into the book. That's his 5th of the year. Be honest, Gary, when you were playing at United, more yellow cards for time wasting or for actual actions?
Oh, back in the day it was for actions. Tackles are flying in left, right, and center. Things that you would blanch at if you saw it today were just the norm back in the day. But that's, you know, football changes, and you've got to change with the rules, and that's what progress is all about.
Easy enough. Not a bad idea there from Torres, but no support.
Back in the day, smashing the goalkeeper in the air was allowed. Never be allowed today. You touch the goalkeeper, it's an immediate yellow card. But I'm actually happy the rules have changed. Give the goalkeeper a chance to catch the ball before you hit him. Come on.
No, I think everyone should wear a helmet. Let's do this.
I do think there is one thing that both these sides miss, and that both managers in chatting to us said exactly the same, and that is a top scorer who's scoring enough goals. Right now, Brera with 5 is a top scorer for Hartford. Niku Daly and Repetto with 5 are the top scorers for Charleston Battery. Other teams, we mentioned Hadji Barry, 18 goals. Nico Brett, 11 from Birmingham. Cam Lancaster, 11, all double figures. Carl Murphy, 10 from Memphis, double figures. The most either of these two teams have is 5.
Barrera. Martinez still.
Well, Barrera trying to get it to 6. But still a bit short of the double figures. That I think if you want to win championships, you need that goal scorer up front who's really in hot form.
Barrera again. Janjigian. Hack. First game back on loan from New York City, 8th for Hartford over the last 2 seasons. This whittles wide and slid across. It's Lewis dropping down to deny Obregon. And a throw for Hartford. Lewis, 4th start of the year in place of Joe Kuzminski. Obregon. Obregon makes the space. Obregon off the crossbar. Barrera off target. Wide of the post. Second time Obregon has met that crossbar, 1 on each end, and 1 from 3 yards out, now 1 from 20.
Oh, what a strike, what a lovely run as well, jinking his way through, trying to get the angle, absolutely smashes that. Paul Lewis nowhere near, but look how quick Danny Barrera is to hit that. And I tell you what, it was on line to go in and eventually curled away. But look how quick the number 10 is. Comes to him, lines it up, hits it. It's going in and just curls away at the end.
Obregon likely feels like he can't catch a break right now. Barrera, goal and an assist. Thought he was going to add another tally. Hartford really on the front foot now toward Obregon. Pushed away by Patterson. Played with Grenada at the Gold Cup. And driven away. Visit HartfordAthletic.com to see our pub partners. Make sure to pay them a visit and support local restaurants and bars. This year, our pub partners include City Steam Brewery in Hartford and TK's in Danbury. Well, if you're Charleston, how long do you really want to absorb this? You knew you'd have to do some of it tonight, right?
Well, at 2-1 down, you've got to at least get one goal to get a point. And right now they're sitting very deep. I agree with you.
Ball lobbed ahead again, and Lewis will take a heavy sigh of relief.
This might be the time soon for Mike Anhauser to throw some fresh legs on. Jabel Perez, DC Harmon, Angelo Kelly in midfield. Just to try and get some fresh energy to at least get one goal back and get on level terms. And then from a Charleston battery point of view, obviously you want to go on and win it. But you can't sit back too much when you're 2-1 down, because you're going to end up walking away with nothing.
And if you're Charleston, you might be returning a bunch of players on the weekend against New York. They're actually staying up here in the Northeast rather than making their way back south.
Makes sense, I guess. All the traveling that would be necessary to go back home and then back up north again.
This struck on the first time, caught by Caldwell.
Nice hands, the goalkeeper once again.
Always appreciate Zico Lewis trying things out. Good enough from Caldwell. Westfield Bank is proud to support Hartford Athletic and all they do to make our communities better. Need more convenience from your bank? At Westfield Bank, you can bank your way. Learn more at westfieldbank.com. Barrera unleashing Obregon. McHugh backs in. Obregon got a shot away. This skies into the air. Barrera chases. Fronts and committed a foul on Adesodan along the way.
He sort of backed into Adesodan, didn't he? I know he's annoyed because he did it very cleverly and very well, but I think the ref is saying you can't just back into players. Difficult. It's a bit of a 50-50 call, isn't it? Nice high press from Hartford, making it difficult for Charleston Battery to play out. Yeah, put the pressure on. Get turnover ball.
Hack will orchestrate here. Where's the number 80 that Danny Barrera actually wore the first year the franchise existed? Barrera switching to a more fitting number 10. That's a poor giveaway in the midfield. Hartford spared their blushes because Charleston was pouncing. Zarkostas and Lewis both converge. It's back to Hack. Barrera. Martinez. One further for Obregon. Gomez, no. Hack. Now Budati.
Good possession here for Hartford. They're dominating this little spell of the game at a time when Charleston actually need to be on the ball and trying to create attacks so they can get back in this match and get back on level terms.
caromed awkwardly out altogether. Corner coming for Hartford. It's a Bank of America corner kick.
Got to mention Obregon Jr. He's come so close, smashed against the crossbar twice, and he's been unlucky not to get on the score sheet. But I think he's been a really effective player for Hartford. You hate it as a defender when players run at you with that sort of skill and they create chances, and Obregon Jr. has been excellent this game.
Corner Hartford. Beautiful. And it is just wide of the post. A wave from Lewis. Tulu was stalking that post.
It was a clever play, wasn't it? I mean, this is thought out in training, you would think. Goes to the far post. Tulu's lost his marker. He's on his own. He's literally only inches away from getting his head on that. That would have been a fantastic set-piece goal if they'd have scored it.
These are precisely the changes, Gary, you were looking for. Harmon and Failing will come on. Now, Darce had good moments in that first half, also put himself in a bit of trouble a few times as well. And then Repetto, who scored in stoppage time in the first half, comes off too.
This is it. It's worth a gamble at this stage, because right now Charleston Battery have 0 points, so you may as well roll the dice, see if these fresh legs and fresh minds can just turn things in your favor.
And the good news is, if you're Charleston, you may get some bodies back this weekend. If you're Hartford, you've yet to pick from a full list. If you're Harry Watling, it's somewhat stunning, really. You've gotten to this point of the season, you said, I think I might have my ideal 11, but I haven't seen them together on the pitch yet.
I don't think he's the only manager who feels that, and if a manager has played their best 11, they haven't played it very often. That's, again, it's just been this 2 games a week, non-stop games, and all the travel. Think of the travel these teams have to do as well. So very difficult for managers to play their best 11 week in and week out.
Sign up for youth soccer camps and clinics presented by Gengras this summer right here at Dillon Stadium. Come out and train with our professional coaching staff. Go to hartfordathletic.com/clinics for more information, or head down to your local Gengras dealership to receive free registration. Martinez. Well, he thought he had done enough. He had not.
No. Maybe those birthday celebrations are on his mind at the moment. Wondering what presents he's going to get after the game.
I promise they're going to be better if he scores.
I think his teammates might buy him a drink or two.
Walmer Martinez finishing his collegiate career at Cal State Monterey Bay. That was some mild gambling from Lewis, but did the job. Down across the halfway line and immediately recovered by Hartford. Lam in his club debut.
He's pointing at one Obregon Jr. saying, you've got to make that run for me. I'm trying to slot you in. I guess, you know, the fact that it's Lam's first match, a little bit of misunderstanding. They'll get that right over the next few games, no doubt.
Wow. McHugh Daly swiped left on Janjigian. Martinez. Well, the attack is on. For Obregon. Back to Martinez. Udati was sprinting forward. Barrera, Obregon for Barrera again. Well, it feels like Hartford is just one touch away from opening this up.
And to be fair to Hartford, they're 2-1 up and they're making more chances. They're on the edge of the Charleston box, looking to try and get their players through and wrap up this match. It's a very positive approach, but that's typical of Harry Watling. He's that sort of manager. He's a positive manager. He believes in, as you said earlier, using the right words, the right phrases, creating the right atmosphere within the locker room. And he certainly has, at this point, got the result that he wants.
Jabel Perez and Josh Penn set to come in here for Charleston. So Penn will replace Adesoden. Suddenly we're starting to run out of defenders for Charleston on the field as they try and see this out.
They're missing literally 4 or 5 of their top defenders. But that's always a chance for somebody else to step up and show what they can do.
Piggott has come off as well. Those are subs 3 and 4, second window used. I think you could argue this might be the biggest win of Hartford's season if they can see it out. Not only is this the team equivalent to you in the standings, but you've gone 4 on the bounce without a win, including losses to some key rivals in the division. You've fallen below the playoff line. This is one of those games that no one's going to say this early, it's a must win, a must have. But you may look back at the end of the season and see these 3 points being the difference. It's easy to say, oh, it could have been any 3 points. But to do this against the team right next to you, jump back into playoff position after the 3 weeks that you've had and knowing the stretch you have coming up, this is a big one. Elney is going to come on and replace Lam as well. As Lam gave all he could and walks off under his own power after being seen by the athletic trainer.
Yeah, had a decent debut. Thought he was sharp at times, especially early on in the match. And I think he's going to be a lovely asset for Hartford. But now a chance for Sebastian Elney to show what he can do. Only 1 goal in 10 appearances for a striker is not the best. I think he has so much talent and ability. He should be scoring a ton more goals, and maybe this is the right time to come and show everyone what he can do. And just back to your question, is this the most important win for Hartford should they go on to win it? It certainly will be up there because it'll take them into 4th spot above Charlotte Independence by 1 point. So you're back in the playoff places, you're confident, you've broken the bad run of 3 draws or 3 losses and 1 draw. So yeah, it is possible they will look back upon it as a vital moment. Having said that, these teams play each other all the time, so these are almost all 6-pointer games.
I mean, Charleston just finished a 4-game sweep of Loudoun. To get 12 points off one team in a single season is staggering. But Loudoun's going to take points off other teams in the division format this year that's going to allow Charleston to make a bit of hay now that it's already in the barn.
I think everyone's taking points off everybody. Pittsburgh play Tampa tomorrow night. Someone's going to drop points there.
There's someone in this division, and maybe it's one of these 2 coaches desperately hoping that's a draw. Budati, Martinez, Patterson. Our partner, Day Hill Dome, is holding a fundraiser to support St. Baldrick's Foundation to fight pediatric cancer. To learn more and support, go to hartfordathletic.com/foundation.
Now the clock is ticking here. We're getting close to the last 10 minutes, and Charleston is still defending. Still haven't managed to get onto the front foot yet.
Floated ball over.
I guess you have to give Hartford credit. Look at Tulu. They're not allowing Nick Udaly to turn with the ball, putting pressure on, keeping Charleston in their own half. Look at the pressure now. Danny Barrera. They're making it so difficult for Charleston to play out. One by one, they close each of these players down. That's great effort coming in the last sort of 15 minutes of the game. See what's happened with that pressure. We've got turnover ball. They stay in Charleston half. The clock keeps working down and the fans keep cheering.
Barrera. Well, one wonders if he had one more step there. The back line had fully dropped off.
If you had a fake to go for a shot, take him one more step, fake to go for the shot, and then try to play someone in, it might have worked.
Conversely, everyone could have been offside, so as quickly as I say it, I see the drawback. Tulu. Hack trying to step in. Perez. Barrera. Obregon is gone. Looks like he'd been tied up. Tonight's match brought to you in part by Fresh Bev, the official cocktail mixer of Hartford Athletic, and by our founding partner, Stanley Black & Decker. Stay tuned each week for the Stanley Innovative Play of the Game. Barrera, Elney. Look to quaff that one step further. Hack with a grab and a free kick for Charleston with 10 minutes and stoppage time to go.
Crucial time now for Charleston Battery. They lose this one. That's 3 losses in the last 4, and they're sitting rooted in 6th spot. It's going to mean they've got a tough stretch ahead.
Ball whipped over the top. Penn chases this down. He's under a bit of duress. Budati puts this into the Dillon Stadium bleachers. Ball lofted again. This curled service caroms off of Torres and out for a corner. It's a self-inflicted wound.
It is good defending in the box to win that header, and only for Gabby Torres to go and knock it out for a corner. If they concede from this, he will rue that touch, but right now for Hartford, it's all about picking up your marker and sticking with them.
Corner, Battery. Swung that over the crossbar.
Right, that was a waste of an opportunity.
Well, not much of a self-inflicted wound, was it?
When someone gives you a set piece, the idea is to take it and not stick it straight out of touch.
Here comes the last substitutions for Hartford. It's a trio. Connor McGlynn off the bench for the 6th time this season. Will replace Christian Gomez. Sub brought to you by 4G Recycling. See Jaceel Cedeno and Arthur Rogers waiting as well. This is the scenic walk onto the field, I think. Hack coming off in his debut. Barrera's come off as well. A lot to be proud of for that trio coming off as well. Gomez, Hack, and Barrera.
Yeah, those are the midfielders, the guys who've done probably most of the running up and down, and makes sense to bring some fresh legs on. This is the game now. Ball possession for Hartford Athletic. Just work the clock down. Be professional. Make Charleston Battery chase you. Of course, for Charleston, it's the opposite. You've got to win possession like here, and you've got to get forward and try and build an attack and get this equalizer.
Crawford. Harmon. Stiff armed away from the ball. Harmon continuing to crow hop along. Goal kick.
Good defending by Hartford there. Of course, every set piece takes a good sort of 30 seconds off the clock. Take your time, which Jeff Caldwell's doing. Well, obviously, you have to keep it within the limits because the referee's watching you.
Oh, is he watching? Time for us to tell you that Hartford Athletic is proud to team up with Stop and Shop in all of our community efforts as we work year-round in the fight against food insecurity. Well, that doesn't enlighten the crowd. Now, after a second look, it's going the other way. Does belong to Hartford.
The referee didn't quite see there was an elbow in one Obregon junior's face, and I think maybe one of his assistant refs spotted it, and he overturned his decision. That's good refereeing. Referee can't see everything, and there's 3 referees on a pitch when you think about it with the 2 assistants, and if they see something you do, you got to have the bravery to overturn your decision, which Mr. Mark Allerton did.
Budati goes down. Referee says play on, and perhaps that's a bit of payback from the first half, because that very easily could have gone another way from Jabel Perez.
That was a close call, wasn't it? But again, if you're not sure as a referee, you can't guess. You see it as a penalty, and if you don't see it, then you don't give it.
Flying in was Burke Failing. Crawford. Hartford Athletic would like to extend a special thanks to our partner, Cone Resnick. Jabel Perez. And you could see some of the Charleston players' faces. That's not going to make Caldwell sweat.
Well, that's exactly the point they're saying in the middle there to Jabel. Just at least hit the target. Maybe the keeper doesn't hold on to it. Give us something to at least chase. But if you shoot and miss the target completely, it's another dead ball. It's another 30 seconds wasted on the clock. Jabel Perez has got to hit target from there.
Saw Mike Anhauser there. Charleston has never missed the playoffs in the modern era. The USL Championship, and they've got a long way to go here, but they'd be on 7 wins, 7 losses, 3 draws, and fall into 6th with the defeat here. Hartford, if they can hold on to the win, would move into 4th playoff position past the midway point of the season. They won the group last year in the smaller group format over Pittsburgh in the final week of the season. Turned over here to McGlynn. Martinez. Backstep by Failing beyond Obregon. It appears the studs are wrong for Josh Penn. He has been slipping and sliding all over the place. Watch out, McGlynn! This isn't Connor McGlynn's first rodeo.
I've seen him score a few from outside the box. He's a lovely striker of the ball. But again, it's Hartford looking for the decisive 3rd goal for them and not Battery trying to get the equalizer. So credit Hartford for getting on the front foot, for making it so difficult for Charleston Battery to create any attacks. You got to think that given the number of shots in this match, most of them have gone to Hartford. They've been on the front foot most of the match. In that sense, you'd probably say they deserve to take away the 3 points.
Lewis. That's a foul. Final minutes here, 100 ticks plus stoppage time to go. A thank you to all of our Business Alliance members Tonight's Business Alliance members of the match are Prime Materials Recovery Incorporated and MCS.
I've just been looking at passes in the opposition half so far in this game. For Hartford, 177 passes in the opposition half, and that's where you can judge who's on the front foot. For Charleston, just 50. 50 versus 177.
Wow.
So Charleston haven't been able to get in the opponent's half, haven't been able to create enough pressure. And they really haven't worked Jeff Caldwell that much, have they?
Turns out your keys to the match may have been really prescient.
Yes, with a third penalty given away in a row. That was the one thing we said don't do.
Header away, Zarkostas. The heavy ricochet, Obregon.
Yeah, just to read those keys again, Hartford gets shots on goal because the last 4 games Hartford have been outshot by the opposition. Well, this time they are currently out shooting Hartford by about 5 goals to 4 on target and 17 to 13 overall. And for Charleston was limit the cheap free kicks and the penalties. Having given away 2 penalties in the last 2 matches, now 3 penalties in the last 3 matches.
And this is Zarkostas slamming the ground and providing a set piece opportunity as we begin Brignall Vineyards stoppage time. 3 added minutes.
That little foot out there by Conor McGlynn wasn't too much. It does bring Zarkostas down. It's a free kick in a great position here. Big question is, what can Burke Failing do from this great spot?
Failing. It's a decent ball, appeal for a handball. Referee looks in, wags his head no. Serve back as far as Penn. Still another 2 minutes. Well, the referee seems intent not to have this on his doorstep. Crafted ball to the back post. Well, Budati is flinging his hands around. He is truly frustrated.
I think he's shouting at his midfielders for allowing that cross to come in too cheaply. Great defense, though, by Hartford right to the end. I'm sure Charleston Battery fans are saying, why didn't we see more of this attack earlier in the game? Why leave it to the last few minutes?
Obregon. Obregon went down, and a big wag of the finger now, and a wave from the referee to get back up. Advantage played for the Battery.
A very controlled side, Charleston Battery. They play really good football. I was about to say, you need to get the ball into the box. You need to get somebody, even if one of your centre backs pushes up, a target man in the box and float things in.
Options starting to percolate, ball across. Careens out to the top of the 18. That had eyes. Patterson. The Hartford bench and Hartford faithful have their words with the referee. The foul. Half a minute to go.
See, I don't get that. Why try and cross the ball, Robbie Crawford, across the pitch as opposed to putting it in the box? Because the ball gets cut out. Now you're on defense. They've got a free kick. Surely with a few minutes to go, the one thing you do is bomb the ball into the opposition box, get a big centre half up there, and just try and get something to knock down and fall your way, or maybe even a penalty. But now, lost possession, free kick. They're going to run down the clock, Hartford, and just not enough from Charleston Battery in attack. And there's such good players. I'm sure Battery fans are frustrated. Burke Failing gets the yellow, but such a talented team. We just haven't quite seen enough from them. They haven't made Jeff Caldwell work, and that for me is the measurement.
And the full-time whistle arrives. Hartford's drought is over. Back in the winning side of the ledger, back into playoff position. Leaping into fourth with 3 giant points on a Tuesday night at Dillon Stadium.
Yep, managers shake hands there, and I do think that Hartford overall deserved it. They were more on the front foot. They created more problems. And they now go into, as you say, that playoff position. Long way to go in this season, and still many opportunities for Charleston Battery to bounce back. But 3 losses now from the last 4. Worrying times for Mike Anhauser.
Dodson and Barrera key both goals for Hartford as they knock off the Battery 2-1. We'll wrap it up when we return to Dillon Stadium. Hartford over Charleston in the game and the standings. It's a celebratory atmosphere in Hartford this evening as Athletic knock off Charleston Battery 2-1. Barrera goal and an assist. Dodson a goal as well. Full-time highlights as we wrap this one up. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey. This from Barrera to Dodson in the 31st.
It's a great header, powerful header. Paul Lewis gets a hand on this but can't keep it up. Bit of lax defending from the Battery, but a brilliant header from Derek Dodson.
Let's show you Dodson again. Adesodan, he's going to feel hard done, but it's a penalty. You can see it for the 7th time this year, 3rd game running.
Yeah, just let him. He's running out of the box. Don't touch him. Very close for Paul Lewis. Getting on the end of that. Barrera gets a hand to it, but the power from Barrera's penalty, too much for the keeper.
And then Charleston off the set piece in the lone minute of first half stoppage time. Wonderful ball by Lewis for Repetto.
And a great little flick on from Repetto. I mean, if he heads it anywhere else, the keeper saves it, but right in the corner. Brilliant header.
But in the end, it's Hartford that hold on. Drastic advantage in possession. More shots, more on target. Mission accomplished tonight, Gary.
Yeah, and Obregon Jr. hit the crossbar twice as well for Hartford, so they were very unlucky not to have scored a few more. But, yep, they're back on the win sheet. They're back in 4th position in the playoffs. Happy days for Hartford and their faithful. For Charleston Battery, well, they've got a couple more games coming up soon. They're going to have to focus on those and try and get the 3 points in the next match.
Charleston will head down to New York tonight ahead of their game on the weekend. They'll have Orange County at their place next weekend. And then for Hartford, their next match away at Miami, and then they'll come back home to take on Pittsburgh on August 28th at Dillon Stadium. 7 p.m. kickoff. HartfordAthletic.com for tickets and more information on a night that will be known for good soccer, but also for $2 beers and $1 hot dogs, of course. Well, Hartford, after 4 games on the bounce without a victory, pick up a crucial 3 points, move into playoff position. Charleston's search continues as they head to New York for our entire NEP And Vista WorldLink team in Hartford and beyond, led by producer Jackie O'Mara, Gage Tillotson, Manny Simone, Betty Morales, and Gary Bailey alongside Mike Watts saying so long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.